Morning. It's 11 o'clock straight up and 57 seconds, and here comes 11:01. Let's come over here to the waiting to live stream. There it is. I've got audio confirmation on myself, and it is running. Tony Wallows there says AVDV are good. Pop out chat and say hello to some people. Well, I guess I'll say it first. It's October 29th, 2022 on a Saturday morning. This is my regular time for a live Windows training live event, and this typically goes around 2 hours. So now come over to chat, say hello to some folks. Dennis, learned today that addressable RGB headers are not the same as Aurora RGB headers. Okay, well, that's fascinating. But I realize that that is not the beginning of chat today. That's the top one that I see there. If I go to live chat, still the same thing. So let's come over here to studio. And no, I still don't even see the older chat messages there, because there were some prior chat messages requesting topics from my multiple choice list of topics. And so then I already mentioned Dennis. Oh, the 3 question marks is a way to get my attention if you don't want to do the @ LIV in order to hit me in orange. But the orange is easier for me to spot. Hello, Rick Lakes, BH Ringer, Darren Gilholm, Jonathan, Jeff Ryman, Ken Stout Live, who I understand is listening while driving to the golf course. Jonathan, and there's Ran Israel, Tony Wallow, Iowa Hank, hellos, people saying hello to each other, Selden Ball, Kenny Whidden, Jonathan again, I think that's again, yes. Wintermute, hello. Let's see, what are people saying here? I still see them. Oh, Wintermute still sees the older chat comments. They seem to disappear once I go live. Oh, you know what? I did refresh. I refreshed the page. That's why I lost them. They were there before I did that. Greg Guy, hello, Doug, and all in chat. Just got finished cutting grass in the back so I can seed. Boy, Greg does so much work on his yard work. I'm very often seeing him make comments about his working in the yard on that day. Speedy C, hello. And that gets me caught up. So let's go say hello to Zoom. I'm going to bring up Zoom. And here we have Alex Cheek. Hello, Cheek. Hello, Alex.
Hello, Doug.
How are you today?
Right now, it's just me and you in Zoom.
Yes, it is. That's all I see too. And we're just sitting here just two guys chatting. No one else cares. We're here. How's your week been?
My week's been good. Not much has been going on.
All right. I don't think I saw you select a topic in the chat room from my list today. Did you not?
Read the description, and I'm excited to see which virtualization platform you'll use for your virtual machine. Hyper-V, VirtualBox, or VMware.
All right. Well, that makes the second vote from the chat room, and I'm kind of voting for it myself because I kind of want to get that going. And I'd rather do it on video rather than doing it by myself, because that doesn't get a video on my channel. Hello, Chris.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Did you have a vote for a topic from my list?
I don't. I got that situated about that.
Oh.
Yeah. Webcam.
Well, I'll give a little summary about that. Chris had a webcam that when he connected it to his computer, it caused the computer to blue screen as just in response to connecting. And then he's done some work and resolved it. Can you tell us what resolved it?
I reinstalled.
Oh, reinstalled Windows?
Yeah, I'm still in the process of doing that.
Oh,
Getting it
so
set back up on this other computer, so
but have you gone far enough that you know that that solved the problem?
I have.
You have. Okay.
And I changed drives actually. I got a bigger drive, and still got Windows installed on that other drive, but I
All
probably
right.
won't go back to that. So
All right. Hello, Greg.
Hello.
You were doing yard work again today.
Yeah, I want to try and get some seed down in soil later this afternoon and some starter fertilizer.
Well, I guess I have to apologize, Doug, because I had an issue for you to connect and try to my computer and try to fix, but
Yeah.
I already fixed it. My audio,
See how you are.
but I had to fix it. My audio had been cutting in and out
Sure.
on my computer because I use the audio over HDMI, and the fix so far has appeared to be a BIOS update because they just released the BIOS update Wednesday, and it hasn't gone out yet, and it only started since the last time I updated to the last BIOS.
All right. Good. So you're doing audio over HDMI. So is that the same HDMI connection for your monitor?
Yes.
Okay. So is audio actually coming through your monitor speakers?
I've actually got it cabled up kind of crazy.
Okay.
Because actually the second output on my computer for my monitor actually goes into an HDMI splitter, which has one input, one HDMI input, two HDMI outputs. One of the outputs goes directly to the monitor. One of the outputs goes into my HDMI switch, which connects to my capture card. But the HDMI cable that goes directly to the monitor, then my sound bar is connected to my TV. So any HDMI that is connected, any input that's connected to my television, then the sound gets routed to my sound bar. So that's how I've got it.
Got it. And that was going in and out, not working consistently for you until you did the BIOS update.
But I know it wasn't the sound bar, it wasn't the TV, because anytime I would switch the input on the TV and use like the Comcast or the like a Roku or something, the sound wouldn't go out on the Chromecast. It would or on any other input, it would only go out when I was using the sound from the computer. So
okay. All right. I think I followed that. I'm kind of tempted to let the audience know that there's going to be a test at the end of this video to see how accurately people can respond to questions about how Alex did all of that. No, not going to do that. Yeah, that sounded a little complicated, Alex, but I think I followed it.
That's the reason why if I show you my desk, you see that I got whole wire management disaster. I'm sure you got a lot of cables too, but you got all your cables hidden and you can't.
Yeah, you can see those two tan rails across the wall there. Those contain the wires. You can see them pointing over here where they come out that hole in the wall and connect to Big Beast and Baby Beast. Yeah, I know cables can be a mess. Now there's still a mess of cables down on the floor because as I make some changes and such and not put them back in there, that's a thing that happens.
When I hardwired to Ethernet, switched over to Ethernet from Wi-Fi, got even more cables. Because I need a switch, which also has to be plugged in to the wall, so I can have more plugs. Because I only want to have to run one cable from the other room, from the router.
All right. And hello, Gary Weisenberger.
Hello, DougBetts.
How are you today?
I am fine. I have kind of a little for Alex. We went to a restaurant, went to church or temple today, went to the optometrist, and went to a fountain pen show, sold fountain pens to somebody flew in from New York. He has a plane that it's a personal plane, and I don't know the name of it, but he told me the plane has a parachute for the plane.
Yeah.
He said it's hard to die in this plane. I don't know what it is, but
I know the plane. I'm almost thinking of it. I've flown one.
Yeah, it's
flew
got
one at their
the
factory.
plane has a parachute. He said.
Yes.
And I'm like, because
Yes.
he brought and I didn't know they could fit 6 people. He brought his son and daughter-in-law. But I'm like, yeah, you're kidding. But we went to a restaurant, and the reason I say Alex is 2 people, they automatically charge 18% tip. 4, they charge 20. Over 4, they charge 25% tip.
Wow.
Automatic.
Yeah.
And my daughter was there with her boyfriend. She's 36, she's not a kid. And I had kibbe and quail. Well, we split the kibbe and quail, the wife and I. And because we had kibbe, he didn't know we were Jewish.
Oh.
Kibbe is not.
I don't know kibbe.
Kibbe is Middle Eastern Lebanese food.
Oh, okay.
More the other Middle Eastern.
Right. All right.
Very anti-Semitic young man she's going with.
All right.
Of course, she owns her own company. He thinks she works there, and she won't tell him otherwise because it'll intimidate the poor boy. I'm like, well, sooner or later, he's going to find out that you own the home you're living in. He's got a motorcycle. He's not a Hell's Angel. He's an insurance adjuster. He goes out and checks body shops. Just a guy. He's not a bad guy, but I guess he's that kind of cute to her. You can tell I'm not impressed.
I got it. Yeah, I can tell that you're not liking it too much. Okay, let's. I'm going to move back to chat here, and then we'll get going with today's topic. So we might get more than one thing accomplished today. People saying hello to each other. Let's see. Are we going to do virtualization? I'm kind of feeling that that's going to be a go because I've done some show prep for that today. Virtual machines from at least 3 different manufacturers. I did. That's not a complete sentence, so I'm not sure what he's actually getting. He said, is he suggesting we do virtual machines from 3 different manufacturers? I don't know. I vote VM as well. One of my main interests. Yeah, I think that's going to be a green light go. I was going to join Zoom, but I've lost the credentials on my phone. My vote would be virtual. If somebody wants to send him the credentials to his phone, that's fine. I'm not going to break from the show to do that. My vote would be virtualization and VirtualBox to add something interesting. Windows 11 latest version to get around the TPM check. I've done it. Piece of cake. Might be something others need to explore, learn about. Wintermute, break it again. Not sure what that was referring to. I vote VMs. Wow, and there's quite a bit of people voting for VMs. Use VirtualBox, which is free. It's 3D pass-through. Wasn't working when I used it. Don't know if it's fixed yet. Greg sent credentials to Ken. You sure hear a lot about BIOS updates. Yeah, we do. We're talking about people with their own personal machines. Hyper-V is the V of my choice. I've already selected what I'm going to use by virtue of means that you're going to see in a short bit here. I was using VirtualBox to evaluate several Linux distributions. I prefer Arch, but I use too many Windows-only software packages for any of them to be satisfactory. Alex with HDMI. Sometimes you're dealing with ARC connections, and now there is eARC. Greg Guy is giving us credentials. I don't like those credentials being put out, publicized to the chat room in general. Yeah, so I want to delete that message. Jim, could you delete that message? I don't want that in my open
It's gone.
YouTube chat. Is it gone? All right.
Yep.
Oh, that was from Greg, not Jim. Greg. Yeah, Greg, can you
It's-
remove
If
your
you
comment?
refresh, it's gone.
Oh, is it? All right. Well, I'm
Yeah.
not going to refresh. Yeah. And DVR, I guess I can. If I go back here, refresh that. Does that refresh the pop-out chat? Or do I have to re-pop it out? I guess I have to re-pop it out.
It's gone
So
on. It's gone on YouTube.
All right. Well, I think that'll be visible only to the people who watched live. I don't think that'll be visible later.
Yeah.
On
Because I know that's the
replay.
permanent number. Or, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, that's a permanent number. And so I don't want Zoom busters to crashers, Zoom crashers to find that. Oops, that's still there.
Hey, Jim, can you see it? Greg?
Well, I'm broadcasting it on the channel. You may not see it in the chat display, but
Yeah.
yeah. And actually, I just recorded that.
Yeah, it's still there.
That's going to stay there. Yeah. So just so people know, I don't like that being put into the chat room. Can I catch up over here? There's credentials. Let's see, Tony, I see your message. Yes. So if that becomes a problem, I'll have to change the credentials moving forward. But hopefully we won't. Zoom Crasher won't discover that. Well, I guess I can go ahead and pop this out again and finish that out since it's already reserved. Is it gone now? I think it's gone now. All right, try to figure out where I was at. Catherine, hello. I might have missed saying hello to some people. Latest VirtualBox 7.02. Yeah, we're okay, Greg. Don't worry about it. And much more versatile. File sharing between your host and guest machine much easier. Now it's gone. Okay, there we are. Caught up to 11:18. Now, let's go I'll show you the path that I took for this. I did not go exploring different ways to go about to go about virtual machine. I found one that was recently done in a video by a person that I watch fairly often, and so I'm going off of his coaching here, and I may do something else later. It's not a big deal. So it is Network Chuck. He's has some videos in here on virtual machines. The one that I'm looking at was, that was a year ago. Now he's done another one more recently, but this is the one that I am working off of for
He's
today.
really good. I enjoy watching him too.
Yeah, he's good. So basically, download VirtualBox and the VirtualBox extension pack. He's installing Kali Linux in this video, but he's showing that you could be using any operating system. I'm going to be using Windows. So I've got some tabs already open over here. Here's the Windows 10 download, and I think I've already got that already downloaded to the point even of an ISO. Yeah, so here's the Windows ISO. I have already downloaded from the Media Creation tool. Once you get into the Media Creation tool, you click download here. I'm just going to click a couple things. That downloads it as the Media Creation tool. Then you open the Media Creation tool. I'll go ahead and open it and show this part of the process. I'm just not going to do the creation again of the ISO. So getting a few things ready.
You mean you're not going to use it to enhance your hacking skills and install the Kali Linux to enhance your hacking?
Yes, I probably will also, but that's not what I'm intending to do during today's live stream. And I'll probably do that in another video. Today I'm just gonna do Windows. I could jump over right now to doing Kali, but I'm not going to. Because I'd like to get a couple of other topics in today as well. Now I might wind up editing out this portion of the video and publishing it as a separate virtual machine Windows 10 video, and then maybe down the road I might do another one with a virtual machine and Kali Linux. Kali Linux has tools in it for hacking. So here what we'd want to do for this process, which I've already done this step, is to create installation media, USB flash drive, DVD, ISO file is what we're really after here. So clicking next for that. Here you choose what settings you want, and it has by default selected the best settings for this computer. You could switch to do 32-bit or to be able to do 64-bit or 32-bit. I don't have much need for 32-bit. Now, in order to do 64-bit, you have to have first enabled virtualization on your CPU through BIOS. And I have pictures here where I did that in my BIOS. So I went to check on it. It was already enabled, but I wasn't sure of that. So I went and checked on it this morning. And I made a video of going through to that screen. And then the focus on that video wasn't very good. So I went back and took pictures. So here I'll show those pictures. Get this up to a full screen somewhere. That, no. Okay, I'm on the screen here. That doesn't make it big. Isn't there some way to make this iCloud display a full screen? Add to an album. I'm not seeing it. Show or hide thumbnails. That's okay. Let's just deal with it here. And zooming, the web browser doesn't do it. But anyway, it's typically on the advanced tab in your BIOS. If you have an Intel chip, you're looking for a choice called VMX. And this was already enabled. Hang on. When I went first to look at this in BIOS, I didn't have VMX in my mind. I knew it was a 3-letter. So I wasn't quite sure of it. When I highlighted VMX here, down here says enables the Vanderpool technology, takes effect after reboot. Now, this was already enabled, so we're not worried about the reboot. But the Vanderpool technology, I wasn't really aware of that terminology. So let's go over here because I like the description they give of that Vanderpool technology. Yeah. Over here on the right side, Vanderpool is a development code name for the Intel virtualization technology, IVT, they're calling it here, is an extension of the Intel x86 architecture that allows multiple operating systems to run simultaneously on the same computer. It does this by creating virtual machines, each running its own x86 operating system. Now, included in Network Chuck's video was the statement that if you're just going to use 32-bit operating systems, you don't have to enable this. It's kind of interesting to me that this section doesn't say that this is in order to be able to do 64-bit operating system. All right, coming back to, where was I at? I was there. So then you get download the installation media. I've already done that piece. So I'm going to move on to the next step, which was VirtualBox, is what Network Chuck was demonstrating. So that takes us to, this just jumped on me. Zoomed big because of my zoom. On the other one, Virtual Spacebox got me to...
VirtualBox.org is the address.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to show the way to do it through a Google search. And previously, when I searched VirtualBox, it came up with the one that had that. Oh, I see what I did here is I clicked on videos. See where videos there is underlined? I'm only seeing videos. So go back to all. So here's virtualbox.org. It should show up at the top. So I'll click on that. And that takes us into here. Network Chuck goes then into downloads. But if you just click right here on download VirtualBox, it takes you to the same place. And here's for Windows host. So we're going to download that. We're also going to download the extension pack. And the extension pack Gives you some extra capabilities, and he mentioned USB. That doesn't actually say that in that description there. I'll go ahead and click for the Windows host. It's downloading down at the bottom. It has completed the download. Well, almost. Yeah, there. And then now I'm clicking on it to launch that. Then click yes to the user account control. Did you guys see the user account control in the video? I'm looking at the video to see. Now you did not. I didn't think that would be picked up. And it didn't. All right, then let's go back to here. Welcome to the Oracle VM. I'm going to get something else in the background there. Get back to that website as the background so you don't keep seeing that window and window effect. Welcome to the Oracle VM VirtualBox. Setup wizard will install VM VirtualBox 7.0.2. Clicking next. Leaving all of these settings at their default settings, which is the way Network Chuck showed to do it. I have not looked at the detail of all of that. Oh, there's USB support. USB device drivers. This feature requires if we will be installed. It's already triggered to be installed. So I guess from what Network Chuck was saying that I still need the extension pack, even though this is showing USB support in VirtualBox. Maybe that's not all of the support that's needed. I don't know. Warning, network interfaces. Installing VirtualBox network feature will reset your network connection, temporarily disconnect you from the network. I don't want that.
It doesn't actually disconnect you from the internet. It's
Okay.
just boilerplate that tells you that, because what it does is it adds more network adapters into your settings.
All right. All right. So for those who didn't understand that, I don't want to do that because that's going to break my live stream right now, because I'm doing this on the computer that I'm live streaming on. Okay. So I'm taking Alex's word on that, and we'll see if that works. If it doesn't work, I'll restart the stream. It'll be a different URL.
You can put me in the waiting room.
Put you in the waiting room if it breaks my stream. Right. Installing Oracle VirtualBox Python requires Python core package when continuing, yada yada yada. Answering yes. Click install to begin the installation. Doing that, and it says this will take several minutes. So I'm clicking back to the tab for the live stream. I see live stream is still going. And then back to this installation in progress. That part is done. Now it says click finish button to exit the setup wizard. There's a checkbox here to start Oracle VM VirtualBox after installation. So I'm leaving that checked. So it should take us straight into VirtualBox. Hands off, waiting for something to happen. Looking at the icons at the bottom of the screen, nothing's flashing at me. Feel like we should have seen something by now. Alt-Tab. Oh. No, this window setup is what I started going into earlier to demonstrate that. That's not the setup that we're working on for VirtualBox. Oh, there it is. It's open. Here it is, VirtualBox. So then we're going to, now I'm running off of memory from watching that video a number of days ago. I didn't watch through this part today.
Download the extension pack on the website
first. All right. So here's back to the website. And here's the extension pack, all supported platforms. It downloads. You can see over here, I actually have already downloaded it once. So this is another instance of it. Clicking to open that. You're about to install VirtualBox extension pack. Extension packs complement the functionality VirtualBox can contain System level software that could be potentially harmful to your system. Please review the description below and only proceed if you've obtained this extension pack from a trusted source. Clicking install. So the agree button is not available right now. That typically means you have to scroll down.
You would be correct.
To pretend like you have actually read it. I did actually read that. I just don't know how fast I read. Okay, now ready to add, correct? Alex?
Right.
All right, so click here to
Well,
add.
it should come up with when you hit agree, it should have come up with the user account, and then it should have come up with that it's been successfully installed.
All right, let's see if I'm missing something. It looks like I got 2 Oracle VM VirtualBox managers open. Yeah, 2 of them open. Both active. All right, well, I'm going to close one. I haven't seen what you described, Alex.
But go click on the file menu, on the top left hand, and then
I've done that.
Go down to preferences.
Okay, I've done that. You got a little bit of delay while you're watching the video.
Go down to extensions.
I don't see extensions.
Trying to remember where
Did we just try to install extensions again?
Yes.
Okay, let's do that. I like that. Extension pack is already installed with the same version. Would you like to reinstall it? So I'll cancel that. So that confirms it's already installed. We didn't see the screen that you were expecting to see. Oh, here's extensions on this 3-bar menu on tools.
They just updated the software since the last time I
Okay. Yeah, so here's Oracle VM VirtualBox extension pack.
That's
so
good
that's
now.
there. All right, so then let's go back to machine new. That wasn't the add. Do I need that?
No, that's if you click on add, that's for if you already had an existing virtual hard disk file.
Yeah.
Remember you had already created, but since you're starting new, you don't have any of that.
All right. Well, right now I'm into this. Oh, go back to welcome. Going back to welcome here. Once I was on extensions, I didn't have that add button anymore. So clicking back to here and go to welcome, that gets me back here for add. So this would be what I need next, right?
No, you want to click on the new button.
New. All right. Okay, this gets me into the same thing that I had a moment ago where I can name the new machine. So let's see, I'm going to call it Kickboxer. That has absolutely no meaning to me. I don't want to use my name or my YouTube channel name or anything that would really attract a hacker to me. So that's just something I just pulled it out of the top of my head. Making a note of that. I don't really think I need to because that'll show up in a list. So then here's a folder that's going to be stored in. It's going to be stored in the user's profile called Doug, VirtualBox VM. So that would imply to me that any additional virtual machines I create would also be stored in that folder. Do you agree with that comment, Alex?
Yes, that VirtualBox VMs folder is the default storage location for on your C drive under your user's profile for the virtual machine.
Okay, so then here for ISO image, I'm going to go pick that Windows 10 ISO image, right? That
Right.
makes sense, Alex? Okay.
Right.
I'm kind of leaning on Alex a little bit here because I did not review that full video today. And I have that in the downloads folder, and here's that Windows ISO. So this is a Windows 10 ISO. I could do a Windows 11 or a Kali Linux or anything else at this point as far as an operating system. This drop down for edition is not available to click, apparently probably because there is no choices within that ISO file, I'm going to guess. And it's telling us here that that's a Microsoft Windows, Windows 10, 64-bit, skip unattended installation. So it sounds to me if I put a check mark there, it's going to not do the unattended installation, which means it would be interactive if I click that.
I usually don't add the ISO to the machine until after I've already created the machine.
I see.
But you can do it that way. Should be fine.
I see. So without that check mark on, down here it says detected OS type Windows 10 64-bit. This OS type can be installed unattendedly. The install will start after this wizard is closed. I'm going to suspect that means we don't get as many choices during the installation. The installation goes quicker. Hello, Catherine.
You can make the tick in the field. Put the tick in the, so you can not have it installed without supervision.
Yeah, so my understanding, I think what you're saying is putting the check mark
That's
there.
this one. Yes.
Putting the check mark. Putting the check mark there means that we will get a more interactive experience of the Windows 10 installation.
Yes.
Yeah. Clicking next. So here we select the base memory. I've got, this computer is 256 gigabytes of RAM. For those who didn't know that, it's got a lot. So let's go maybe 32 gigabyte, around that area.
Yes,
and then processors, how many processor threads that I'm going to allocate to it. I'll go to 8. Enable EFI. Special losses only. I'm going to leave that unchecked. I don't know what it means. Do either of you?
EFI is like the UEFI, like the firmware of the machine.
Okay.
Newer machines have UEFI.
So putting a check mark there would allow me to manipulate the BIOS settings of this virtual machine?
I don't know specifically, but I'm just telling you that's what that means. It means that it'll be on like a UEFI GPT instead of MBR system.
Oh, so you're thinking without the check mark, we're automatically getting MBR?
Possibly. I haven't used this updated version of the software, so.
I'm hard pressed to imagine that would be it, because it's saying that special operating systems only. That's GPT is pretty commonplace among operating systems, isn't it? I'm going to leave it unchecked and click next.
Well, you can always, once you install it, you can go and check on the disk management, and depending on how many partitions it's got, that will tell you whether it's MBR or GPT.
Yeah, certainly, and I can always go back and do create another virtual machine or put a different operating system on it, because so far everything we're doing is free. One thing we're doing is the Windows 10 will be in an unlicensed mode, but it'll still be functional. There's some things that you can't do in an unlicensed Windows 10. Not going to go into those details now. Virtual hard disk now is 50 gigabytes. That's fine. Pre-allocate full size. No. Use existing virtual hard disk file. No.
Oh.
Do not add a virtual hard disk. I'm going to leave this for create a virtual hard disk. We're at 50
Let's go
gigabytes.
next.
Yep. And that's giving us a summary of all that, and click finish.
Why Windows?
Oh, Catherine, don't argue with me on that. I'll be doing other things. This is just something to start with.
No,
Okay.
Windows 10 might work, but Windows 11 is really difficult.
Well, okay, a reason for doing it is because I can install Windows software on it. I can do things on the internet through a virtual internet connection, VPN, and be able to test, for instance, some of these scam emails that come through and feel okay with opening them. So there is reasons to want to use Windows in a virtual machine.
Or good reason why I used it is because if you want to mess with the scammers, like if you want to call
Sure.
the scammers,
Right.
you can let them connect to the virtual machine.
Right.
And then if they do something that you don't like, you can immediately cut them off.
Yeah.
Close the software and they not be able to reconnect.
Yeah. Now, any of my adventures into hacking and learning cybersecurity better is likely going to be with a Linux, perhaps Kali Linux. And so I'll probably have multiple different virtual machines available at any time that I can launch any one that I want to. I've chosen to start with Windows. Okay, coming back. So I didn't see it go through an installation. Do I actually have to launch the machine?
Yes. Yes.
All right. So then if I click here, Logs Activity File Manager, just to double click on it, I think.
You just highlight the machine,
Start.
that, and you click on Start on the right-hand side.
Oh, there it
Start.
is. Start. Right click on the, it was right click on the 3-bar menu, not left click on the 3-bar menu, because that gives me that menu. So right click on the 3-bar menu and then Start and normal start. People have been telling me all along it's an easy thing to do, and I watched that video and said, yeah, okay, it looks like an easy thing to do. I'll go ahead and tip my toe into this water. This is the first time that I'm actually doing this. All right, here we got the Windows 10 setup experience, out-of-box experience. Clicking next and install now.
Oh, the reason why the video is in a small window like that is because you don't have the drivers and the VirtualBox guest drivers installed yet. But once you install the and get to the Windows 10 desktop, you can install the drivers and it'll be full screen.
All right. I'm not going to activate Windows. And if I chose to, I could buy another Windows license key and actually have an activated Windows in VirtualBox. I don't have a product key. Then Windows 10, we'll do Windows 10 Pro. Next. Accept the license terms, click next. I'm not going to do an upgrade because that requires actually launching setup when you're at a up and running Windows 10. So I need to do custom install using the unallocated. Say again?
That one thing while I'm thinking about it, you see down on the bottom of the virtual machine, down on the bottom of the virtual machine window, there's little icons for like the hard drive activity and the network activity.
Bottom right. Let me turn off my picture. Down here.
Down on the bottom right, there should be a little picture that looks like a little network icon.
Yes.
You wanna click on that.
Left click.
I think it's left click.
Nothing happened.
Right click then.
Okay, right click. I get network settings and connect network adapter.
You wanna uncheck the connect network adapter.
Oh, okay. So that
So
we
that,
can.
that will essentially disconnect the virtual machine from the internet. So when you go through the setup, you don't have to create a Microsoft account.
Right. So now that network icon is grayed out, indicating that we're not connected. And when I float the mouse over it, it says cable disconnected.
Yeah.
So the virtual machine is not connected to the internet. My real computer, Big Beast Build, is connected to the internet. That's why you're still seeing this live stream. Clicking next. We go through copying files. Now, if I do an Alt Tab at this point, I am not getting my optionals. If I move my mouse down to the taskbar at the bottom, which is Big Beast Build, I'm still not getting other windows. Oh, when I click inside the search field, I can see my other windows that I can go switch to. So I can tab over to chat, move the chat window over here a little bit. And I can see what's going on. I'm looking for my last highlighted comment. I think I must have lost the highlight. Going up to try to figure out where I left. Let's see. I'm scanning through these a bit to try to see if there's something for me to read. Pension pack can be automatically downloaded. No UAC. Randy Israel says we did not, that we prefer to not do that checkbox, but that doesn't explain why or what it does. Yes, from within VirtualBox can be installed. This is maybe before Catherine joined us on Zoom. What time is that? That's 20 minutes ago I'm looking at. Will not break your live stream, Catherine said. Okay, installing network adapters I don't think will cause you any issues. Still streaming. VirtualBox separate. Only thing I found different, the older versions that I used was pointing to the ISO for Windows. They really wanted to use a DVD. Oh, in the older versions of VirtualBox, they wanted to use a DVD. Ah, interesting. Londog says it's possible to have two versions of VirtualBox open. Extension pack, comment, extensions.
I actually a while back, before I went to college, when I was still in high school, I actually used VirtualBox to set up a whole Windows domain, Windows server, all of the and a couple of machines all attached, and that was all attached to a virtual network, and they could communicate with the domain controller. So that's how I learned, quite a bit of that.
I like this suggestion here from Rand Israel about changing the VM folder so it's not in your user profile. Alex and Catherine, do you have thoughts on that?
Well, you should be able to take the when you create a virtual machine, each virtual machine creates a folder inside of the VirtualBox VMs folder on your C drive. So theoretically, you should be able to copy that folder that the system creates when you make that virtual machine and copy it over to another drive and add it back into the VirtualBox, and it should work.
All right, Catherine, were you trying to respond to that?
No.
Thought I heard a second voice when I asked for that. All right. Use the name of the operating system. Oh, okay. As the name of the computer. Is that what you're saying there, Catherine?
Yeah, I always use the name of the OS I install. Yes,
right.
For example, Windows 11, maybe the build number, and then x64, for example. Yes.
All right.
So I know what I run when I look at it, when I open VirtualBox. Yes.
That makes sense. Sure. Jean-Claude Van Damme made a movie called Kickboxer. What have I missed? 8 gig is enough. Let's move this forward. Start with a region. Is this right? Yes. Now I'm suspecting that check mark that we deliberated a little bit about, if I had done the opposite choice, that it would have made some automatic choices for me. And that's what I was thinking. Maybe we wouldn't get this screen, but we selected the choice so that we would get the normal out-of-box experience. At least that's the way I'm interpreting it. Right keyboard is US. Add a second layout. I'll skip that. Connecting to network.
In order to do that unattended, you need that unattended XML file like we talked about before a while back. So it probably wouldn't have worked anyway because you don't have that file.
I would suspect that might be the case, but it didn't give us any indication of that. I think I might test that some other time, because that's an interesting point. Because what choices is it going to make if you're not going through all of these selections? I don't know. And maybe that selection box doesn't make any difference for Windows 10 installation. Until you try it, I think we're just speculating. I don't have internet because I still don't want it to try to do a Microsoft account. And then continue with limited setup, because I'm just a limited type of person. Catherine, are you trying to get my attention?
Yes, please.
Go ahead.
So Sheldon Ball says VirtualBox recognizes computer names that are OS names and initializes itself appropriately. And that's true. Yes.
Oh.
This is why when you it wanted to tell you to name it Windows 10, for example.
Okay. Here's Sheldon's comment. I'm displaying it now. VirtualBox recognizes computer names that are operating system names and initialize itself appropriately. Okay. Yep. All right. That's a good tip. Londog says, no, it won't allow you to adjust or mess with BIOS settings of the virtual machine, but what it does do, allow booting UEFI parameters, I believe, written to the hard drive. So that would have been that check mark about EFI. And I believe Londog is doing virtual machines and has some experience with this. Avoid legacy type booting. EFI is required for UEFI special modern operating systems. Remember, VirtualBox supports many older operating systems which do not support UEFI. Go ahead, Alex.
I was just going to say, when you first booted the machine up, when you first clicked on the start and it first booted the machine up and you've seen the Windows logo,
yeah,
and the many dots underneath it, that's how you know that it's in that's one way that I know that it's in legacy mode. Just at first glance, because if it wasn't, if you had checked that box and it being in UEFI mode, it would have said like Oracle VM VirtualBox, and then had those spinny circles when you would have loaded the Windows 10 ISO.
Okay, so that's a difference in appearance while Windows is loading under VirtualBox. You can tell whether EFI is enabled or not.
And that's not just to a VirtualBox. That's to even a physical computer.
Oh, so for a normal Windows 10 computer, you can tell by the loading screen for Windows 10 whether EFI is operational or not?
I can.
So go ahead and describe the difference again, because I didn't quite follow that.
Okay, what brand is your motherboard? Is your big beast? Gigabyte?
Asus.
Asus. If you're UEFI or EFI booting with Windows 10, when you turn on your computer, you will see the Asus logo with the little spinning circles at the bottom. But if you're legacy booting, you'll see that ASUS logo flash real fast, and then you'll see the Windows logo with the little spinny circles with Windows loading.
Okay,
that
so
make
do you have to
sense?
know the differences between each manufacturer of motherboard? That seems overly cumbersome.
No, what I'm trying to say is if you are EFI booting on any machine or on a virtual machine, you will see the manufacturer's logo and the little spinny circles instead of the Windows logo.
Okay. So with EFI, you will see the manufacturer's logo first.
Yes.
Okay. If your legacy BIOS, you will not see the manufacturer's logo first. Okay. Well, I can see where that is, because
you will see the manufacturer's logo if you're legacy, but it will flash real fast and then it will load. But you'll also see the Windows logo, and you won't see the Windows logo if you're EFI booting.
All right. I think I'm with you on that. I'm gonna probably experiment with some computers to lock that into my memory. Although I also have to question myself: do I ever really care?
It's just one of
it at that level.
It's just one of them things that I know that a useless trivia fact that not a lot of people care about.
Yeah.
It's just like I can tell the version of the build number of Windows, how new the build number of Windows is based on the wallpaper.
Yeah. Well, if Windows is up and running, I would just likely go into MS Info 32 rather than restart the computer to answer that question. So the only time that would really be of use is if you happen to see a computer restarting and you're getting that piece of information before you even start working on the computer. All right, only quirk I ran into, Doug's installing VirtualBox. That's chit chat. Get the opportunity to create a local account by not being connected to the internet for the virtual machine. Said your hard drive was too small, less than 50 gigabytes, 54 gigabytes it wants. Saying we got a message saying that I set it too small.
Yes.
Expect a video from me that explores, so we'll take care of that in a minute. Expect a video from me that explores Windows 11 virtual machine and why auto unattended comes in handy. Oh, all right. So yeah.
But Doug, in order to expand the size of your virtual machine hard drive, you got to start all over again.
Oh, all right. Well, Network Check said we could do it from some disk management place.
You have to stop the machine.
Stop the machine.
Then you have to go into preferences, and there you can adjust them.
Okay. All right, great. Let's see, cold there. And wow, that was quite an accomplished use of virtual machine in that way. I bow to you for tackling the pathway of learning. What's he referring to? I don't know what he's referring to. Well, that's quite an accomplished use of virtual machine in that way. I bow to you for tackling a pathway of learning. Yeah,
he's probably referring to when I mentioned setting up the Windows domain and all that in the virtual machine.
Oh, okay, sure. VirtualBox recognizes the computer names, operating system names, initializes itself appropriately. So perhaps that's what Dennis is going to demonstrate. I don't know. Yeah, Lundog. Yep, that's true. If the name of the operating system, usually VirtualBox will choose the right settings even for Linux stuff. Dennis, if selected unattended XML file automatically creates itself on a floppy disk and uses it during Windows installation. I'm assuming during virtual floppy disk. Yeah. Okay, so it VirtualBox apparently creates the unattended .xml using the information you provide by virtue of the computer name. Doug, I'm listening to what Alex is trying to say about legacy UEFI booting. There may be something to what he's saying. I'm sure there is. I have an old Windows 10 machine and the HP logo screen does seem to flash for a second. Then Windows is displayed. I'm going to keep an eye on what he is trying to tell us. Good. We could have a second person looking at that. P.S. I'm updating a very old machine that has Windows 10 doing updates. Hasn't been turned on for 6 months. It's an HP machine about the time of Windows 7 early days. I caught up. Now, what's going on behind the scene here? Get out of my way here. The right screen up. Oh, I see. It's was in half screen size. Who's going to use this PC? So if I were to be using a computer for the purposes of, exploring some of these scam emails that come through or connecting to sketchy sites, I don't want anything that sounds like it is me. So I want to use something that kind of diverts attention from me. Maybe I'll try this.
You can use Indiana Jones.
Using what?
Indiana Jones, because you're an adventurer.
I still didn't understand the name that you said.
Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones. Okay, so
Yes.
you don't like what I put in there of Alex Cheek. Then, right? Did anybody even get that? No.
Yeah, of course,
Well-
Doug. No, I don't.
You don't want me to do that. All right. All right. I also don't like Indiana Jones because that makes it really obvious to the scammers on the other side that I'm messing with them. So
Use Joe.
Yeah.
The scammers have gotten really smart. Some of the scammers that are really smart, if you let them connect to your machine and
Yeah.
want to mess around with them, the first thing they will do is they will check device manager, and if they see that it's a virtual hard disk under device manager, they'll say like virtual box. Some of them will disconnect, but some of them won't even notice. So depending on what scammer you get, you have to. There's ways that you can disguise the virtual machine to make them think it's like an HP or a Dell. You have to go in and modify, so you modify stuff.
I don't see my
virtual machine, so you can play with them.
Yeah, I don't see myself going very far down that road, so I'm not going to be going into that much. But I've got my friend Joe Blankenship, not a real person as far as I know. There probably are some real people by that name, but that's obscure enough that it works for me. Now, super memorable password. You know what? I think for now I'm not going to put a password on it. I probably will later. Because, of course, if I do connect to any sketchy operators, well, it's interesting. Depends upon my objective. If I leave it unprotected, they could get into my virtual computer, and maybe I want to see what they would do. I'm not going to bother with any of these changes. I'm clicking accept for all those defaults. And let Cortana help. Not now. Here we have the normal Windows 10 initialization happening. Chat back up. I suspect DDT will demonstrate using an unattended file to bypass Windows 11, a requirement for a Microsoft account. Oh, interesting. John Claude, the Kickboxer. Yeah, that's right. The computer name was Kickboxer. Now I have a username Joe Blankenship. Confirming what everyone's been telling me. Seems very easy to do. Although we have that implication that I didn't do the hard drive size large enough. So is this going to fail to install? This seems to be taking longer than I would have expected. Do we have a way to well, here we go. It's gone. I was going to say display task manager for the virtual box. So there we are. There's Windows. And then to get the full-size display, I would need a display driver. Is that what you're saying?
The very top of your virtual box screen.
Yeah.
There should be an option that says devices.
Yeah.
Very bottom, install virtual box. Guest editions.
Insert guest edition CD image.
Yeah, yes. that will put a CD on the virtual machine. That will has a program on it that will install the drivers for the virtual machine.
Okay. So I've done that. I clicked on Insert Guest Edition CD Image. I don't see anything else happening.
You might have to go click on your little folder icon on your taskbar and find where the CD is.
All right. There's a CD drive, sure enough, VirtualBox Guest Editions. Okay, I'm just...
And then just run the 64-bit executable.
VBox Windows Editions, that's AMD 64, x86.
That's it right there. AMD 64 is it.
AMD 64 is the right choice?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Answering yes. Setup will guide you through installation of Oracle VM VirtualBox Guest Editions. Clicking next. Gives a destination folder.
Pretty much, you can pretty much just leave everything default.
Okay. Now I'll just click through.
And then it'll ask you to reboot the machine, and then once it reboots, you can turn back on the network adapter, and then you'll be good to go.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so we have reboot now selected. Click finish. That'll reboot it. When it reboots, then we'll turn on the network adapter, and it'll be able to, is it then going to do some updates through the internet?
Depends on how Microsoft has it set up. Yeah, it probably will.
Okay.
You may have to, in order to get the driver to work, you may have to like resize the window, like hit the maximize button and then hit it again to get it to resize properly.
Okay. I'm going to turn off my picture-in-picture because I'm going to need these little icons down here where the network icon is for VirtualBox. Right click on it and choose Connect Network Adapter. And then that icon is now showing that we're connected. Do you want your PC to be discoverable by other PCs, devices on this network? I'll answer yes. It's on its own network. It's not on the same network as the computers in my lab here, as I understand it.
Yes, it has a different IP address. VirtualBox different.
Right. And just to show that, I'm going to hit the Windows key, CMD. So I'm opening a command prompt and then IP config. And see, yes, that is a different IP network than what my computers are on.
Hit the maximize button next to the close button on your VirtualBox window on your main computer, and then press it again so it'll resize the.
Yeah, it did. Very good.
It'll resize like that so you get a full screen.
All right, I'm bringing Zoom up on screen. Hello to Jim.
Hello, Jim.
All right.
Welcome aboard. Did you have anything to say upon entry?
No. This stuff is more involved than I care to get.
All right. And hello to Darren Gilholm. You going to say hello back to me?
It may take him a while.
Yes, I will.
There we go.
There you go. There you go. How are you today, Darren?
Oh, I've been busy all day. Work.
All right. What time is it for you now?
20 past 8.
20 past 8 p.m.
Yeah.
All right. So there I've got my virtual computer up and running, available for me. So this X in the upper right corner, I can click to close the entire thing, right?
No. Yeah, there's one thing I would like you to check.
What?
Click on your search box down in your virtual machine and open up disk management.
Showing 49.3 gigabyte C drive.
But it says system reserved. That means you're using an MBR partition, not GPT.
Oh.
If you would have checked that box from before,
Yeah.
it would have been a GPT EFI system.
Okay. All right. My usual method for checking on that is discard command prompt. And here we don't have an asterisk in the GPT column, which tells me that it's an MBR partition, MBR disk. All right.
But it probably that probably is not going to affect what you're trying to do with it. It's just
yeah, it doesn't. And we have 22.6 gigabytes of 49.4 gigabytes in use.
I would have probably made it at least 100 gigabytes because I'm pretty sure you have plenty of space.
Yeah, I think so. And in Device Manager, you said that a scammer could go to disk drives. Here, as I'm displaying it now, it says VBox hard disk. So that's the clue.
That's the
to
giveaway.
somebody who's connected remotely that this is a virtual computer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That, and also if you show all of your icons in your taskbar, one of the icons will be, if you click on the button, that little arrow in your taskbar to show all the icons, one of those icons will be the VirtualBox guest editions. That's also a giveaway.
This panel on the left-hand side, is that from VirtualBox or
Yes.
what?
There's a little red there's a little red X on there that you can hit and it should.
Oh, there it is. All right. So then here you're saying on this list, there's Oracle VM VirtualBox guest editions. So that's another way that a scam remote support person connected to my computer would be able to tell this is a virtual computer.
Yes. If they're paying, now some of them scammers don't pay attention.
Well, also my observation is most of those people working in a scammer sweatshop aren't really computer technicians, don't really have personal computer technical skills. Because otherwise they would be earning money with their computer technical skills rather than trying to scam people out of money. All right. Well, that covers everything I wanted to do with virtual computer. Take a look at chat, and maybe we'll move on to another topic. The out-of-box experience in the VM is always a bit slower, right? Why is Microsoft so insistent for users to use Edge? Well, I don't know, because they want to make more money for their company. Just
because it's their browser. Is like Apple wanting people to use Safari.
Yeah, I wasn't okay. MBR legacy mode, can see it in MS Info 32. Yeah, that's where I would go for the BIOS mode. For exploration purposes, keep the network adapter in network address translation mode. This way, VM has internet connectivity, but is isolated from the host or from other VMs. Was that a dynamically selectable? I'm going down to the bottom right corner, network settings.
But it's set up the way it needs to be by default.
Yeah.
For NAT, if you change it to anything else, you either won't have any internet connection at all, or it will attach to your main network and act like the virtual machine will act like it's a physical computer on your connected to your actual main router, which you do not want.
Well, you do not want if your purpose is to go to sketchy
Yes.
websites or click on those links and such, but if your purpose is to be using the computer to support your work processes, you might
Yes.
be wanting to connect it to your local network.
But what I mean is you don't want it for your purposes.
Right. Yeah, for the purposes that I've already described today, it's conceivable that I might come up with a work case scenario where I might want to have it doing other work, but I don't think so.
So you've already got two physical. You've already got two physical computers for that.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't really need another a virtual computer, and that's part of the reason why I haven't done much at all in that regard. So Lawn Dog's saying you might want to do Microsoft updates, except that that's not worth showing to anybody in this audience. We already know how to do that, but eventually I would do the updates. It's probably already trying to do them. Might be. Might consider purchasing a license key for Windows 10. Yeah, it depends upon what I whether I really wind up pursuing.
I see Jim is shaking his head.
No,
don't buy the license.
no. I honestly, I don't. I'm sure there's reasons to do it, but quite frankly,
Yeah.
it's a VM, which means is that you're either testing software or whatever the heck it might be, and you just need the VM to confirm that this functions, that functions, whatever the hell. Why would you waste a license key on that? Because the operating system will work. You just won't be able to change the freaking background. Big whoop.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm at the end of chat. Okay, so the other topics that were of interest. I'm just going to minimize the virtual machine for now. And go back to that list of topics. What's that about, Jim?
BH Ringer, what's worse than finding a worm in your apple? Finding half a worm.
Oh. Yeah, that's good. So that is setting up a virtual computer on Big B Spill. There was at least one that asked for the Macrium Reflect. There was also the video editing template for Adobe Premiere that Ken asked about, but he's out golfing right now. So I think I'd rather have somebody who's really interested online with us at that time.
Hey, Doug, with Macrium Reflect, are you the only one that has Are you the only one that has a license to that, or do you have a license for all of your other clients too, or for at least some of them?
For some of my clients, we did purchase the license. We purchased my criteria, and this is a personal choice that any technician or technical person is going to choose. I choose to pay the license, have my clients pay the license when it is we definitely want that computer to be backed up. When it's just kind of an optional that, no, I'll back it up if it's free, but we're not going to pay a license for that computer, then those ones are set up for free. So typically what that means is if on a computer that in an office that has, for instance, a peer-to-peer network or a server-based network, we want the computer that is functioning as the server to be backed up. So we'll pay the license there, even though we could get away without paying it. On their workstations that don't store the data, where the only occasion where having a backup is going to be useful is if their computer crashes, the hard drive crashes, then we can do an image restore. But if we didn't have the backup, well, they're simply going to pay me to rebuild from scratch. So I don't have it's a financial suffering for my client if we don't have a backup image. Now, in those computers, I only set up the free Macrium backup if there's a really large drive. If there's a 1 terabyte drive and we're going to be using less than 100 gigabytes for their operating system, then I'll go ahead and split the partitions and have a second partition for Macrium Reflect to store its backups. But we do not do external drives because those are not data computers. It's not important enough to be swapping external backup drives. So that's my reasoning. And since Macrium Reflect actually does provide a version of their software free for commercial use, I feel that I'm within the scope of their license. A lot of vendors will have free for personal use, but not for commercial use. Macrium Reflect specifically has a free version for commercial use for a business.
For yourself, do you buy the actual technician's license, or do you just buy the normal home user license?
I have I believe it's a 5-pack license, meaning I have 5 licenses for my own use. I'm looking here. No, it's a 4-pack. Yeah, it's a Macrium Reflect home 4-pack that I use for myself. And I could get away with using it for free. It's my choice that I pay for it so that I can, not so that I can have image backups on all my computers. I could have them anyway, but I could have, all right, I'll say it, guilt-free image backups because I am a business. So that's my reasoning. I don't care if somebody uses a different reasoning. That's your business. That's my criteria. Did I answer your question, Alex?
Yes.
All right. Then guy's last name was Ruff, first name Dan, middle initial D. Yeah, Ruff, middle initial D. I'm not going to try to figure out what that was. Dandy Ruff.
Last name was Ruff. First name Dan. Middle initial.
Andy
Ruff. Dandruff.
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 Dandruff. Okay, that's what it is. Promo for Head and Shoulders, dandruff. Yeah, got it. I don't know. I'm a little bit tempted to go ahead and shut down early rather than go on to another topic. Is chat room requesting any of those topics in my list? Part of the reason why I'm kind of thinking about shutting down is there is a, let's see. There's a live stream that was some kind of webinar or something that was supposed to be going on now. That was it. BH Ringer sent me an email about checking. Yeah, in regards to RAM forensics from this channel. Of course, I should be able to watch it on replay. Yeah, here it is from the PC Security channel. I had a little interchange over email with BH Ringer about this channel. I believe he's a fan of that channel. First video, well, one video that I watched from his channel, I wasn't too happy with his approach on a particular topic, but I'm not going to go into that. But anyway, I think that's going on right now. Is it? Yeah, it seems to be gone. I don't, maybe you guys heard that. I didn't. Maybe that came over YouTube. Anywho.
Yeah, didn't come over Zoom.
No, wouldn't have come over Zoom, but that, when I unmuted that audio briefly, that might have come over. Was BH Ringer? Oh, BH Ringer is here.
Wintermute's saying voting for number 6 or number 9.
Oh, Rand is saying 9. You said Wintermute was saying 6 or 9?
It says voting for number 6 and or number 9.
You saw that substantially before it appeared on my screen. Voting for 6 and or 9. Rand says 9. Okay, well, if we got some people that care, then we'll take a look. My experience was purchasing video editing template. Now I do have some tabs already open in preparation for that, so that would be an easy one to go to. XFinity Comcast lied about my internet speed. That's a pretty quick one. So let me go do that one right now. I'm not sure where I'm set up to display my cell phone over my computer. Don't tell me how to do it. I know I have that already set up. I just haven't looked that up recently. So I'm going to do this the short, low-tech way. I'm looking for the text message on my cell phone from XFinity where they lied to me.
A corporation lied. No, say it ain't so.
Yeah. Come on, where is it? Where is it? Where is it?
Why did you expect anything else?
Well, this has a little twist. It has a little twist. Here it is.
They do anyway what they want. So.
Okay, so I'm looking at this to make sure there's nothing private on here. Yeah. So I'm going to do this the low-tech way. And there's a text message there. This one right here, I'm just going to read it to you. You're not going to be able to read it off screen. But they sent, you're not going to be able to read it through the camera. So this was sent to me Thursday, 2 days ago, 2:11 p.m. from XFinity. We increased your current internet download speeds from 100 megabits per second to up to 200 megabits per second for no additional charge. For a faster experience as you work, learn, stream, and game. I thought, oh, really? Up from 100 megabits per second up to 200 megabits per second. So I'm going to be somewhere between those two numbers, right? So I went over to my computer and I did this right here. Speed test. And then click on speed test right here. And I'm not going to go over 200 megabits per second because they promised me I'm not going to be over that, right? They said up to 200 megabits per second. And here's their lie. I'm getting 770 megabits. Doggone it. They told me I wasn't going to get over 200 megabits per second.
Oh, okay.
And I'm getting over that. They lied.
Well,
Hey, but that's a good lie.
yeah,
At
there you
least
go. One of the few.
that's the better lie, Doc.
Yeah, it is.
That's the
Yeah,
lie
it
you
is.
want.
I just thought that was kind of craziness. Now, yesterday, 6:30 p.m., I got this next message, which again, you're not going to be able to read through there because I think I actually have the exposure thing turned off, turned to manual. So this one yesterday from XFinity. Yesterday, we sent you an SMS with incorrect speed info. They're admitting to their mistake. The good news is that your speeds have increased up to 1 gigabits per second. Well, up to 1 gigabits per second. Well, up to. So I'm at 770. So I'm not over 1 gigabit. So they're not lied there. They honored their statement.
All ISPs use the term up to when they're talking about any residential connection.
I know that, Alex. I'm just poking the barb at them. We apologize for any confusion and hope you enjoy these faster speeds. Actual speeds vary. In parentheses.
Of course.
Yeah.
My question, Doug, just to poke a little fun at you, is since you are a business, why don't you have a business connection?
Not available here.
Triple the cost.
Now, when you say business connection, define what you mean by that.
When you have a business connection, what I mean is a business connection gives you better support. Like if you're a resident, since I'm a residential connection, if I call my ISP and say, complain and say, I need y'all to send somebody out, they may not send somebody out for a week. But if I was paying for a business connection, they'd send somebody out today to fix my internet.
All right. So the fact that I've never had to call them asking them to do that is worth paying the extra money for?
No.
No. That's not enough of a reason for me to pay whatever extra amount that might be, if it's even available for me. I don't know if it's available because I'm in a residential neighborhood. It might not be available. So yeah, that's why I'm not paying for it or don't have it. I don't feel a need for it. Say again?
I was just saying that's the reason why someone may want a business connection, is because you get better customer service, and it's an agreement. It's an SLA agreement between you and the provider that they will provide it. If you're paying for a gig, they will provide a gig, not 770.
Yeah. All right. So if I had need for those benefits, then I would be paying for it. I don't have a need for those benefits.
Neither does he have a benefit for a static IP, which would probably also be part of the business account.
Yeah, I think a business account usually is going to be static IP. I don't think you'd even have that choice.
Even as a residential account, I can pay for a static IP if I want to, but it's an extra $20.
Yeah.
A month. Yeah, I was going to say a month. Don't forget that part.
Yeah, and I think I could do that. Do that too. But in a couple of clients that I have that have business accounts, I think they automatically came with static IP, and then that doesn't mean we have to actually utilize it as such. The static IP would allow me easier process of connecting remotely, like using remote desktop from another location, but I don't want anybody doing that anyway. So anyway, let's move on. That's all that was about my ISP lying to me. Not a big topic. The other one that was requested was 6 or 9. It was 6 or 9. So 6. Yeah, purchasing a video editing template. Let me make sure where I have that here. Yeah, when I went to do this, I did a Google search for Adobe Premiere templates and got to this site called videohive.net. On videohive.net, there's Premiere Pro available. Now, there's also DaVinci Resolve available. So it has similar choices in the DaVinci Resolve section as I had for Adobe Premiere. So I went to video displays. What I was intending to do is come up with a promotional video for doing remote support on my channel, on my YouTube channel. So, but what we're talking about now is just giving a little sample of what you can do for going to get templates for whatever software you might be working with. So there's also one for After Effects, which I also have, but I went specifically for Adobe Premiere, and I'm going to be showing and talking through my experience with doing that. So I scrolled through this list looking for something that would be sensible, and these were all very far away from what I was looking for. This one was close, because what I wanted is a way to show multiple different video clips from previous support sessions that I've done on this channel. And to find that, what I was looking for, I came back up here to the top and looked at these search criteria essentially. So I went into special effects, went looking through these for I was looking for things like this, but I wanted video content. This said photos, so I passed that one without going into it. I looked through these, not in great detail, but I'm kind of getting through this quicker than maybe is justified, to just give you kind of an idea of how not very close these were to what I was looking for. But on the third page is when I found the one that I liked, and it was this one. So, photo slideshow by iMinimalist in special events. It shows that there's only been 29 sales of it, which that's now a little concerning. Seems kind of low. Click into that, and I find some information about this seller, iMinimalist. So I look through this, play this piece here to see what it looks like.
Audio Jungle.
Well, here we are, living in the moment, and here we are, dreaming in the open.
Audio Jungle.
So that gives you the idea of what it does. It goes through quite a few transitions of those multiple arrangements of photos. I don't think any of those were showing actual videos, but when I read this description, it shows right here that images or videos, so that videos do work with this. And I thought this was close enough, pretty close to what I wanted. There's a download preview you can do. Over here shows last update was January 1st, 2022. It was originally published a month before that, or a couple weeks before that. It's a motion graphics template. It's for Premiere Pro. It has two lengths. One was 1:30, the other was 2:30. Resolution 1920 by 1080. We don't see the full 1080 there, but that's kind of obvious. So look through this a bit, and I wound up purchasing it. And there was a problem with it. And I'm going to get to that problem and show you how the resolution for that problem worked out, because I was kind of pleased with that. So here's reviews. That's not very much in reviews. Before I go on to the problem, I'm looking through this a little bit more because I want to get to, I think it's here. When I go to iMinimalist, what else have they done? So if you click on this, it should take us to their other content, and here's a View Portfolio button. And they've been a member since May 2016, because I'm kind of concerned about how substantial is this author. Over here on the right, it says 132 ratings of 5-star, sales 17,525. That gives me a little more confidence. Click on View Portfolio. Now, I'm just showing the process that I went through, of course, with a lot of shortcuts, a lot of time subtracted from my efforts in doing that, but give you the idea of how to pursue getting a template for any of these graphics-oriented programs, if that's something you're interested in. So this is all of this person's portfolio: $28, $24, $20, various different prices around that range here. But then we get down to the bottom and see there's a whole bunch more pages. I go out to page number 8, see that there's more stuff out here. So this person has done a lot of creation work here. So I'm kind of feeling good about them as a creator. Now I'm going to go bring up some email exchanges. Let's see this screen here. Is there anything private? I don't think so. I have my email tab open here with a search for Video Hive. Video Hive was the website that I had gone to look for templates, and the name Envato is also involved here. I think Envato is the sales engine behind this. I'm not sure I'm saying that right, but down here we see the transaction notification. So I bought this template October 4th. And this one here, oh, that was I think I sent that to Ken Stout showing my iMac screensaver, because the iMac screensaver that used to be on the desk here, what, a year or so ago, had a similar effect that I was wanting, but it was only photos. It wasn't doing videos. And then here, iMinimalist, this is when I reached out to him about the problem. This was him mailing me back, actually, October 14th. So I'm going to come up here to the last, to what opens the whole chain of messages and show the conversation between us. So I first sent this to him. I purchased Photo Slideshow for Adobe Premiere Pro and cannot get videos to play in more than a very few frames. Most frames display as stills. I want to use video in all the frames. Can you help me? So what was happening is I was putting video clips from my prior live stream support events that had myself showing in Zoom and the person that I was assisting showing in Zoom. And they were, some of them were playing as videos, but some of them were only showing as stills. I'm going to wind up showing you what that looks like in a couple moments here. He's replying to me here. My email was sent to him on the 13th of October. He's replying on the next day, October 14th. He says, thank you for buying the project. You insert a video and have a static frame, ? If the problem has not been solved, please write to me. Today I will be at my work computer and test the project. And I replied to him, the problem has not been solved. Here is an unlisted video demonstrating the problem symptom. So I uploaded this as an unlisted video on my channel. I'm going to play it for you now, so you see what the problem was. Now, that's me talking to him. Let's get over here. Somewhere along here and demonstrate it. Here. Okay, so as this plays, you'll see some of them. There's video with Ken and me. We did a little talking. Here's with John Krikorian and me. You can tell that that's video. And then here's with Tim Sal. We're both still. That's not playing as video. This one's not playing as video. And I think there's another one. Yeah, and with Chuck, he's not playing as video. So that was the problem symptom that I was telling him about. And then this one's not playing as video either. Now, come back to here. He replies to me. There's the 14th that I sent him that video. He replies the next day on the 15th. Yes, I see the problem, but don't know how to explain it. I have all videos being shown. This is very similar to the Premiere Pro bug of the latest version. So he's letting me know that there's a recent bug with Adobe Premiere that this seems similar to. I can advise you once again to try to add new files to a clean project. I can also send you the source code for this project for the After Effects program. Everything should be fine there for sure. I respond to him on that same day, October 15th. I will do as you suggested. I would love to have the After Effects source code. It's okay for me. Is it okay for me to make some modifications? ? I understand your licensing terms to mean if I use it for another project of my own, that I need to pay for another license fee. Is that correct? ? My usage will be for marketing of my YouTube channel, and I would periodically change the videos that I include in the project. There was an interesting thing about the licensing off of that website is they said that this license is for a single project, which I found a little disturbing, that I can't use that template again for another project. Is it somehow protected against doing that? Or, I mean, that could get really expensive if I were to do it for multiple different projects. But anyway, I went ahead and bought it because I figured, well, I might get away with just having one. Here's his response. He gave me a link for the After Effects project, which I have downloaded and used, and it did solve my problem. And in fact, it was even more useful than that. I was able to make some other changes that I wanted to make it work better. He says, I'm sending you the project for After Effects for free. I hope you won't have that error in this version. As for the license as a whole, it is better to read on VideoHive website since the terms of use are prescribed not by me, but by Envato. I may not know all the specifics. Oh, that was interesting. He doesn't really know if I can use it the way that I want to. I have done some work with the project in After Effects. Let's see, am I finished with all that? Yeah, I'm finished with all that. And I've been able to get the project further along. And I think it's going to work well for me. Now, for those of you who know, Ken Stout is working on a similar project for me. I intend to use both, provided that does work out for him. And let's see, where do I go for this? I'm going to bring back myself here to get the right one. That's not the right location. It is F drive, Adobe Premiere projects, After Effects templates. Here, video show there. I think this is it. That shows yesterday's date. '26. That's not the revision I did yesterday. AEP, no. Then it put a slideshow 26. Now I'm feeling like Ken Stout. Where did I put that? All right, well, I'm just going to go ahead and show this one. This slideshow? No. I think I did one of these yesterday.
Scenes and sources.
Scenes and sources.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, the scenes.
Yeah, it's about a 3 or 4 year old laptop, and over time it got slow.
Here's what started this big mess. Windows 365.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the one before the last fixes that I did. And that reminded me a good way to get to that would be to open it in
Scenes and sources.
Scenes and sources. Okay.
Right, the scenes.
Yeah, it's about a 3 or 4 year old laptop, and over time it got slow.
Here's what started this big mess. Windows 365.
Yeah, sir, I tried, but it's not working.
Scenes and sources.
Scenes and sources. Okay.
Right.
That's driving me nuts trying to find it with all that noise coming through. Well, anyway, I don't need to go show that now because you'll see it in not too distant future. The modifications I made was to make those video screens bigger so that you don't tell that it's inside of a Zoom window. So they fit better. I think I've pretty much covered my experience with purchasing a template. I think it was worthwhile. I'm pleased with how quick the author responded to me and what the assistance that he gave me for the template. So that I'm calling at this time a winner. as opposed to that other recent experience with a thumbnail from the Fiverr that no, that was